Let's hop over to the phones and spend some time with our good friend, Dennis Horton. He is the director of the Rockford Office of the Better Business Bureau. Dennis, good morning.
Good morning, Riley. How are you?
I'm doing well. How's everything going this morning?
Very good, except the weather, as you noted, not too good.
No, not too good. Nothing the BBB can do about that, although they will take your bad reviews on the weather if you want to put those in a self-addressed stamped envelope and file that off.
It'll arrive somewhat foggy, I'm sure.
I had mentioned earlier that you're the guy we love to talk to because you're the guy who keeps money in people's pockets. If they'll pay attention to some of the things that you point out, there's a good chance you can avoid having money taken away from you or dumping it into something that you shouldn't.
Yeah, that's what we try to do. We have two goals here. Is one, marketplace is about education. Aware of the thing up there that is that our data breaches. Years. I think it was 3 or 4, 5 years ago. We were all concerned about the breach. And then that was by the Snooks data breach. Well, in the last 2 weeks, we've had 3 major data breaches. And what does that mean to us as customers and consumers? It should give us all pause and should make us a little nervous about what is happening to the information that we are providing when we walk into a store to make a purchase, such as what happened at Lord & Taylor. All of the information, all the shoppers there for more than 6 months were swiping their cards, and all that information was being hacked. We are fully unaware of these things when we walk into a store, so it now becomes our job to protect ourselves, which to me seems a bit unfair.
It does seem unfair.
We are trusting them to take care of our information, but it's quite apparent that isn't happening. So we really do have to take some steps.
Yeah, and and it's like you had mentioned, a new day, a new story about a new data breach, one that we looked at this morning. Panera Bread has come out and said, well, yes, there is some truth to the fact that there was a data breach. The person who's the whistleblower on it claims it's into the millions. Panera claims it's in the tens of thousands, but nonetheless, they will admit that there has been a data breach.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things that I also find very upsetting, Riley, is that they will claim, yes, we had a data breach, but the number that they want you to hear generally is revised upward at some point later.
Right, yeah, that's 10,000 or so. All right, well, it turns out it's several 100,000, but initially that's what we thought it was.
Exactly. It's like what happened with Equifax. They initially said 43 million people were affected, and then we find out that there were 52 million people who were affected. So what do we do about it? We do have to take some steps. We have to make sure that we are safeguarding all of our information as best we can. And it's obviously a little more complicated than just keeping your Social Security number to yourself. So as many passwords as we have, you have a password for getting out of bed, it seems, anymore.
Oh, yeah, and if you forget your username, you have to stay there.
Yeah, but sometimes it's so bad.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that's a plus, I suppose.
But, that password protecting, especially that we do so many things, either on our laptops, but more increasingly simply on our cell phones. So it's imperative that you do password protect your cell phone. I was very lazy at first and thought that it would be okay to not password protect your phone until you lose it.
Right.
Or you leave it somewhere, and then you have to worry about it. So absolutely. I think that, the touch recognition and now facial recognition makes that job a lot easier for us to protect our cell phones. But it's something we really must do.
And in some cases, like my own, I didn't end up doing it until I adopted Samsung Pay. And when I adopted Samsung Pay on my phone, it said, well, we're not going to let you do this unless you password protect the phone.
Yeah, exactly. And like you, I was reluctant to do, tap and pay or touch and pay,
sure,
be it Apple Pay or whatever it is. But you do have to have your phone password protected, or they won't let you do it because they know then if someone walks by and finds your phone sitting there, and it astounds me how often you walk into a restaurant or somewhere and someone has left their phone while they went off to the restroom or somewhere, just sitting there. Anyone can walk by and pick it up. So things like that, we really have to guard against. I mean, it's common sense thinking. Don't leave it sitting out there and open where anybody can pick it up and walk away with it.
And these are when you talk about things that we can do to be proactive, that's a pretty easy one, and it's a lot easier than trying to pick up the fallout from an identity theft and a whole bunch of charges that we didn't realize were on there.
Yes, and even though we hate the passwords that we have and the number that we have, you really do need to make sure that you are using passwords that are unique to whatever app it is that you're using. You can't just use the one that you remember. You can't just use your mom's birth date for everything.
Right, because they get one thing, then they've got it all.
Exactly. And it doesn't require that you make drastic changes to it, but you ought to make some change to that password that makes it a little more difficult for them to have to, or at least make them work harder to figure out that password.
Fine idea, and it doesn't take that much time out of your day, and believe me, the time that you spend doing it will be time you'll be glad you spent should something happen. Like Dennis said, you get up from the restaurant, you've left your phone, or you left it in the bathroom, or you left it while you went in the bathroom, the next thing you know, your stuff's all over the place.
Yes, and I have put my passwords into an Excel spreadsheet so I can find them, but I don't keep it. You don't keep it on my phone, so it's accessible. Nor do I keep it on my laptop. I have it on a thumb drive and I have two of them. One that's hidden away elsewhere, and one that I keep at home in a safe place, so that if I need the information, then I can access the information without having to do all the email work and all those things to retrieve your passwords. But you should keep track of them, and also it makes it a lot easier to change them on a regular basis. And if you happen to forget what it is, you can go and access that thumb drive very quickly.
Yep, that's a fine idea. So, yeah, for those who are wondering, all right, well, what do I do with the information once I have it? I can't put it on a Post-it note on the frame of the computer monitor. No, but there are other spots you can put it that it'll be safe in case you need to grab it up.
Exactly. And also, Riley, when there are new downloads or fixes for software on your phone or on your laptop or tablet, make sure that you do update those. Because they are a safeguard for you if there has been a breach, or if there is an issue, or if there is a virus or something that makes you more vulnerable. Having those downloaded and up to date, and making sure that your virus protection is also up to date is also imperative.
Absolutely, yeah. Help along the people who are trying to protect your information by keeping all that stuff up to date. And if you've got a computer, like you mentioned, a phone or a computer update that you've been putting off, no, you want to download that, because in a lot of cases there's a security fix in there that you need.
Exactly. And when we are, especially now, being spring break and all, if you're traveling at all, and it was something I saw actually on a morning talk show on the Today Show about when you're traveling and accessing free Wi-Fi, be very careful. You may think that if you're at the hotel that you are using and accessing their free Wi-Fi, when in fact it could be a hacker who has set up a very similar Wi-Fi for you to use, and you go online to pay that credit card bill you forgot to pay before you leave, and that hacker, who may be sitting just feet away or somewhere in the hotel, is now downloading all of your information. So one of the things that you have to do when you log on at a hotel, generally to access their free Wi-Fi, you have to put in your room number. And the recommendation was that, yes, use your name, but put in the wrong room number. If you still get access to the free Wi-Fi with the wrong room number, you know that you're dealing with a scammer or a hacker and not the hotel system.
Oh, brilliant. Dennis, as always, I really appreciate your time. Couple of weeks you'll be back and keeping us alert of other things where people are trying to raid our wallets.
Thank you, Riley. Really appreciate the time.